This week, we're going to be talking about a woman in the Bible who displayed some great faith. She had great faith. The problem is that we don't know her name, okay? So that we don't know her name. All we know is that where she came from, but we do know that she's inspired millions of people over thousands of years by her bold move and by her trust in God. So all we really know is where she's from. And so we're going to read her story out of the book of 2 Kings. Now, this comes from the Old Testament. This is the first part of the Bible before Jesus came and was crucified and resurrected. This is essentially the Hebrew history book. It's the history of the Jewish nation, God making them into his chosen people. And so we're going to be taking a look here in 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 8. And we're going to see the story of a prophet of God named Elisha. Elisha says, one day Elisha went to the town of Shunem. Now, Shunem is a village in the northern region of Israel. It's still there to this day, and that's where this prophet Elisha went through. And there was a wealthy woman who lived there, and she urged him to come to her home for a meal. So she invited him to come for a meal at her house. And then after that, whenever he passed that way, he would stop there for something to eat. Is anybody a little bit hungry here today? Okay, a few of you guys, that's essentially what happened. He's a little bit hungry. She gave him a meal. And then, now every time he came through, he made sure to stop by her house. Like, hey, you got anything to eat? Have you ever went out of your way for a good meal before? Anybody ever went out of your way? Okay, some of you have. I think the furthest I've ever went out of my way for a good meal is my wife and I were somewhere way, way, way up in the northern region of Vermont, and on our way home, we drove about an hour out of our way to go to this place called the Dutch Pancake. And there we went there to have pancakes. It wasn't any normal pancake that they make there. It's a pancake where they kind of treat them like omelets, honestly. They would put ham in them and cheese in them, or you could get spinach and mushrooms, and it was all baked into the pancake, and they were amazing, amazing pancakes. Unfortunately, I don't think the place is in business anymore. So anyway, looking it up, sorry it's not there, but we drove out of our way, probably over an hour out of our way there and over an hour back just so that we could have pancakes one morning. But you know what it's like, you're hungry, you're craving something. Hey, I'm willing to drive out of my way for something good. That's what he would do. Whenever he's in the area, he's going to stop by and get something to eat. Continuing on in verse 9, she says to her husband, I'm sure this man who stops in from time to time is a holy man of God. So she has a little bit of discernment. He's coming in, he's having food, they're talking, they're having conversations, and she's like, this is a great man of God. What can we do for him? How can we bless him? How can we serve him? And it goes on in verse 10, let's build a small room for him on the roof and furnish it with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. And then he'll have a place to stay whenever he comes by. I don't think they put a computer or TV, anything like that in there. It was kind of modest accommodations, but he had a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp, anything that he really wanted, and a good meal. So whenever he would come in this area, he would stop by. So there's a few things that we know about this woman. We know where she's from. She's from Shunem. We also know that she was married. She was wealthy. She had the means to be generous, but she didn't have any children. And this was a great shame for someone living in that ancient Israel culture. She had no kids. Surely they wanted kids, but her husband was much older than her, most likely, and they were unable to have children. But despite all of this, she was known for her kindness and her hospitality. And whenever Elisha came through, he made sure to stop at their house because he knew he could have a good meal and a place to stay. And so this lady, she looked for opportunities that she could be a blessing to him and to other people. She lived a generous life. She put other people first. See in your notes, if you're taking them, selfless people look for opportunities to serve others. And she was looking for opportunities to serve others, specifically to serve this man of God. So much so that she built an addition onto their house, essentially like an Airbnb, but it was just for Elisha. Whenever he came through, that's where he would stay. Whenever he's around, he stops in for food and a place to chill out a little bit. And Elisha was so grateful. He was grateful that he had a place that he could kind of call his own. And so he wanted to do something to help. So he offers to do something to help her. He's like, well, what would you like me to do? I could put in a good word for you with the king or the commander of the army. Maybe wondering if maybe she needed some extra protection for their estate, or perhaps they had a loved one who's in prison that they would like to have pardoned, or maybe lower taxes or something like that. It's like, what would you like? And I can maybe put in a good word for you. She declines it all. She's like, no, I'm all set. We have everything that we need. We don't need anything else. Then Elisha gets an idea. They have no kids. They have no children. Surely she would like to have children. So he calls her in, and he knows that her husband's old, and so he brings her in. Here in verse 15, we see this conversation. Now he tells his servant Gehazi, his kind of assistant, he says, go and get her, bring her in here, call her back in here again, Elisha told him. And when the woman returned, Elisha said to her as she stood in the doorway, next year at this time, you'll be holding a son in your arms. No, my Lord, she cried. Like, it's interesting, that's her first response. You'd think that she would be excited about this news. He's like, next year, you're gonna have a son. She's like, no, my Lord, she cried. Oh, man of God, don't deceive me and get my hopes up like that. You know what that's like, to have your hopes up. You're looking forward to something. Someone promised something to you. Someone said that they would do something for you, and then maybe they didn't come through. And she's like, you know what, I don't even wanna go through that. Most likely she'd spent a good portion of her life hoping and dreaming for a child, but she's already given up on that dream. It's like, no, don't get my hopes up like that. Well, verse 17, but sure enough, the woman soon became pregnant. And at that time, the following year, she had a son, just as Elisha had said. See, in your notes, God rewards those who are generous. See, our generosity, it attracts God's blessings. And because she was generous, it attracted the blessings of God. But it's interesting that she wasn't being generous with the expectation of getting a blessing. She wasn't expecting anything from Elisha. She wasn't expecting anything from God in return. She didn't want anything in return. In fact, when something was offered, she declined it. She just simply wanted to be a blessing. See, I believe that real generosity isn't transactional. Real generosity isn't expecting anything in return. I'm just gonna be generous. I'm just gonna give. I'm gonna give to the church. I'm gonna give to other people. I'm gonna serve other people without expecting something in return. So often, generosity is pitched as this thing like, give and you'll be blessed for giving. And while that is true, that was not the motive of this lady's heart. It wasn't give so I can get back. It was just give because I wanna be a blessing. But God gives her a blessing that she didn't ask for. Something inevitably that she had always wanted to have a child, and she gave up on it. The ship had long since sailed, and now she's content. And contentment is a good thing. In fact, one of the more popular verses in the Bible people quote is, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that verse is speaking specifically about contentment, that I can be content with a lot or with a little when God gives me strength. And this woman, although certainly sad over her fate, she had learned to be content without having any children. She's not focused on the things that she does not have. She's focused on what she does have and how she can use that to be a blessing for others. But true to Elisha's word, she gave birth to a son, and now she's overjoyed. Well, a few years later, her son is growing up. We don't know how old he was at the time, but he's out in the field working with his father. So he very likely would have been maybe 5, 6, 7 years old, probably not doing a ton of work, but he's out there in the field and he's with his dad, and he starts complaining of a headache. And probably wanting his mother a little bit. So the dad says to the servant, go take him to his mom. Anybody that's got kids, you know that when your kids are hurting, they don't want to have anything to do with dad, right? It's like they want mom. I could be standing in the room right there and they'd be like, where's mom? I'm like, I'm right here. No, where's mom? And so they bring this child to his mother, and so he's there with his mother, and she's holding him, and as tragedy strikes, the child dies in her arms. Imagine the heartbreak at that. Imagine holding your only son, the one you had given up on, and then now was given to you as a promise from God, and now this child dies in her arms. What does she do now? She could mourn, she could begin the preparations, but no, she takes the child, she carries him up the stairs to the prophet's room and lays him on her bed. Verse 22, still in 2 Kings 4. It says, then she called to her husband and said, send me one of the servants and one of the donkeys that I may quickly go to the man of God and come back again. And he said, why will you go to him today? It's neither new moon nor the Sabbath. And she said, all is well. Underline that. All is well. Look at that response. All is well. Interestingly enough, the guy didn't challenge it at all. He's like, okay, whatever, do what you want to do. She's like, I want a donkey and I want a servant. And he's like, is everything okay? All is well. It is well. She's saying, it's going to be fine. So she grabs a donkey and grabs the servant, like, let's go as fast as we can. It was about a 30-mile trip from where they were at Shunem to Mount Carmel. They're just riding on this donkey as fast as they can go. I'm sure it wasn't an easy trip. I've never ridden that far on a donkey before. But here they are, they're trotting away and they're going there. And I believe this is one of the most powerful expressions of faith in the Bible. Because when the husband's asking, she's just simply, all is well. All is well. Everything is fine. Everything's going to be okay. This Shunammite woman was obviously devastated at the loss of her child. But in your notes, instead of giving in to despair, turn to God for help. And that's exactly what she did. Instead of giving in to despair, instead of giving in to sadness and mourning, she turns to God for help. She wasn't leaning on her own understanding here. She was walking by faith and not by sight, because walking by sight says, my child is dead. But no, she's walking by faith. She's like, we are going to go find this man of God. Now, Elisha sees her coming way off in the distance, sees her coming. And he tells Gehazi, his servant, he says, I want you to run out there. And it says this in verse 26, run at once to meet her and say, is all well with you? Is all well with your husband? And is all well with the child? He's trying to think like what could possibly be going on here? Why is she out here? Probably two people riding on a donkey as fast as they can. They're coming here. What does she want? And Elisha, it's like he just can't even wait. Like he just wants to know the information. It's like when somebody says to you, and I hate it when people say this, like, hey, can we talk? Can we talk? It's like, wait, just tell me what you want to talk about, okay? Like, don't leave me in suspense. Just tell me what it is. And Elisha's like, why are you coming? Is it something with you? Is it something with your husband? Is it something with your child? So he goes out there, he asks her, and she answered, what did she say? All is well. All is well. She says it again. The word, if you look it up in the original language that she's saying here, it's actually just one word that she says, and it means all is complete, everyone is safe, and everyone is healthy. And that's what she's saying to this guy. What's going on? Everybody okay? Yes, everything's fine. She keeps giving this response. All is well. She's not being ignorant. She's not in denial about what happened, but she's clinging to faith. She's clinging to faith. She knows that her child is dead, but she's clinging to something. She sees something that no one else sees. This phrase is used often throughout the Bible as a statement of confidence in God's faithfulness, God being faithful to us. And she's just saying, all is well, all is well. In other words, she's saying, God is in control. I'm putting my trust in him. Yes, it doesn't seem like things are going very well right now, but I'm trusting in him. It indicates a trust in God's ability to work everything together for good. She's like, I'm trusting in God, even in difficulty. Even with her son's death, she has an unshakable faith in God's goodness. Because if God has given me this child, then God certainly can do something about this situation. So Gehazi, he comes out and he asks her this question. He comes out to chat and she's kind of like, thanks, but no thanks. I didn't come here to talk to you. It's like if you ever go to talk to somebody, maybe in an office building or something, and you're met with a receptionist, and they're like, well, how can I help you? It's like, well, no, I came to talk to your boss, Or maybe you go to the doctor's office, and they're like, would you mind if a student doctor would examine you? It's like, well, I kind of want the real deal, It's like with all due respect, I want the doctor to see me. And so she's like, this guy comes and, how's everything? She's like, everything's fine. Get out of my way. I'm not talking to you. I want to talk to the man of God. That's essentially what she's saying right here. I came to talk to him. In your notes, when tragedy comes, it's time for us to come to God. When tragedy comes, that's what she's doing. She could have chosen any other response, but she chose to come to God, to come to the man of God, to come to the very person who gave her the promise of a child. So we continue on in verse 27 here. And when she came to the mountain, to the man of God, she caught hold of his feet, and Gehazi came to push her away. Like, this dude, I mean, he's got issues, okay? Like if you study this guy in the Bible, like he's kind of up to no good. Like, he's always got some scheme going on. He's just not a great guy. Here he is shoving her away. Gehazi tries to push her away, but the man of God says, leave her alone, for she is in bitter distress, and the Lord has hidden it from me and has not told me. So here's the man of God, but he doesn't know what's going on still. God has not revealed that to him. Then she said, did I ask my Lord for a son? Did I not say, do not deceive me? I don't think she's being bitter here. I don't think she's being angry here. I think she's just stating facts. Like, I told you not to get my hopes up. I told you not to give me something only to take him away. So Elisha says to Gehazi, tie up your garment and take my staff in your hand and go. And if you meet anyone, do not greet him. And if anyone greets him, do not reply, and lay my staff on the face of the child. Then the mother of the child says, as the Lord lives and as you yourself live, I will not leave you. So he arose and followed her. It's interesting here that this woman, she's like saying, okay, you're going to send your servant now? You're going to send your servant with a staff now? Now, sure, the staff kind of was a symbol of his prophetic role. It was a symbol of that. And he said, here, I'm going to send my servant, and he's going to go take care of this. And she's like, okay, listen, let's just get one thing straight here, Elisha. You are coming with me. I am not leaving until you come with me. I'm not taking your servant. Plus, did you see he just shoved me just a minute ago? He's like, I am not trusting my son in his hands. You're the one who promised me a child, and you are coming with me. Well, interestingly enough, Gehazi went ahead and he laid the rod on the son, and nothing happened at all. Now, there's weird speculations out there that Gehazi on the way sees like a dead dog and like raises it to life or something. I don't know what was going on. All I know is this dude was kind of jacked up. That's all that I know. But anyhow, he got there and he was unsuccessful in raising this child. Here, even in the face of trouble though, even though she had just lost her son, he died. She didn't curse God. How many of us, if faced with a similar situation, we would be angry at God? We'd turn our back on God. All she says is, all is well. It is well. It's well. It's okay. Everything's going to be just fine because I'm going to go find this man of God. Because see, she knew something. If this guy could prophesy that a woman like me, with my old husband, we could have a child in a year, well, he can probably do something about this. See, she realized something that many of us don't realize, and it's in your notes, that God always has a purpose in the pain. Whatever difficulty you're going through, whatever pain that you're facing right now, God has a purpose in the pain. God is working in the details. There's a bigger blessing in the storm. We have to go through the storm, and she's going through the storm, but her focus is resolute. She's focused on God. She's focused on bringing this prophet back there to see the situation through. And when the situation seemed impossible, she chose to have faith. How many of us choose to have faith in impossible situations? Man, many of us, we can't even have faith in the little situations, the little things that are going on in life. Like, oh man, you know what, I'm having a little bit of car trouble. How could God let this happen to me? Or, oh, you know what, I just feel sad today, or this or that. And we can't even trust God in the little things, how much more in the big things. This woman's like, you know what, my child is dead. All hope seems lost, but I'm putting my faith in God. She's choosing that. When she looks at this situation, it looked impossible, but she chose to have faith. Other people would have been advising her to bury your child. It's time to move on. It's time to make preparations. It's time to gather the mourners. Let your friends and family know what's going on. But no, she says, it is well. I'm going to see the man of God. I'm going to talk to him about this promise. She acted in boldness. She says, I'm not going anywhere without you. You're going to send your servant. That's all well and good, but I'm not leaving without you. You're the one who gave me the promise, so you're the one that's coming with me. Now, it's easy to read this and think that she was a little bit cocky, but I don't think that was the case at all. I think she was desperate for sure, but she was bold. She was bold. saying, I've went out of my way. I've been generous to you. I've been kind to you. I never asked you for anything. You promised me, and now you're going to come and you're going to make this right. Continuing on in verse 32. When Elisha came into the house, he saw the child lying dead on his bed. It's interesting, that's where she brought him. She brings him up, puts him on his bed like, okay, he's in your territory now. He's in your territory, and I'm trusting that you're going to do something. So he sees the child lying dead on the bed, and so he went in and shut the door behind the two of them and prayed to the Lord. Man, I would be praying too if I was in that situation. Like, what do you do in that situation? You're like in there like, okay, what is she expecting me to do anyway? Like, what could I even do? So then he went up and lays on the child, putting his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on his eyes, and his hands on his hands. It seems kind of weird. Like, I don't know that I would have thought of that, but that's like what God apparently showed him to do in that situation. And as he stretched himself upon him, the flesh of the child became warm. Something was happening. Something was happening. But the child clearly was still not alive yet, because it says in verse 35, and then he got up again and walked back and forth in the house. It's like, what's going on here? Like I got to do something. Like she's expecting something, and he's praying and he's asking God, and then he goes back up and he stretched himself out again. And then the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he comes to life again. He's resurrected in a miraculous way. So let's be clear. This is not something that Elisha did. This is not something that a rod could have done. This is something that God did through an individual. It's exciting to know that God works through people like you and people like me, that God can do the miraculous through people who are anything but miraculous.